on, everybody? Gentleman 94 here. Welcome back to another episode of Sci-Fi Wednesdays. We are back here on the Viper Mk VII. As you can see here, I've gone ahead and finished off the front landing gear strut bay and the two rear landing gear strut bays. I've also got the front nose cone and the rear intake all faired in and ready to go. That's pretty easy. I haven't had too many problems with that. As you can see here, I've also assembled the engines. Those are pretty decent. They're not too bad. They fit fairly well. We'll have to go ahead and work on those today. That's what I want to go ahead and accomplish. And there's a little extra fidgety things we got to put on. It will eventually fit in the back of this coping area, and then that will fit down on top of the rear of the fuselage. As you can see, something like that. So yeah, it's coming along pretty well. It's a vertical stabilizer here, which will fit down on top, and it'll all kind of fit together. Hopefully easier than some models I've built recently. Now let's go ahead and look at what we've got next going on. The next biggest step here in the instructions is actually the cockpit. And the problem I'm having with the cockpit, I mentioned this last episode, is just the fact that it's so underdeveloped. There's hardly anything in there in terms of dials or switches or anything much in there. I really don't like that. I'd much rather have it over detailed than under detailed. And so right now I'm still kind of stumped because I know you can buy an aftermarket set for this thing, but I don't want to spend as much money as it costs to actually pick that up. So we're going to have to scratch build. Don't really have the mental capacity to do that today, so we're going to work on the engines. I want to go ahead and get these assembled and get the piping in, because there's a little bit of extra work there we have to do, and get those all squared away and ready to go. So first things, we're just going to grab the extra piping that's going to go on the sides of the engine burner cans, I guess, for lack of a better term. There's actually two per side. There's also some center supports and two on the other side. And these don't look very difficult to put on, so we're going to have to just take them step by step. There's top four right up here. So let's go ahead and grab my flush cuts, and let's go ahead and clip some of these off. Starting with this one right here. Looks like just two snips should fall away freely. There we go. As you can see, I have a little better lighting today, actually. I found an old light that's a magnifying LED light, so I've got it pretty much right off camera. I've actually got a filter over the front of it, hoping that might cut down on some of it, because the LED lights tend to be really bright. They tend to kind of wash out a lot of color. So this is going to be okay for right now. I've got one other light that I want to go ahead and try, but it'll most likely be next episode. So I'm still trying to work out the whole lighting situation. I'm digging building on this bench though. Like I mentioned last episode, this was the bench that my father used to build models on, and it's also the one that I used to build models on when I was a kid. I brought it back out of storage, and yeah, it's a lot of memories in this desk. So this actually fits pretty well against this burner can, so we're just going to drop a little bit of extra thin Tamiya cement, and those should just adhere right in there. I'll have to put a little bit of pressure on it. Some of these are not well molded, I noticed. Some of these locating tabs are a little finicky. Like some are shorter than others. So if you actually end up building this, you want to make sure that you don't clip too much off. I might have clipped a little bit too much off on this one, but it looks okay. Looks all right. And the extra thin cement will most likely have a nice bond, so it should be all right. Like I said, there are going to be two per engine can here. And then, of course, the top engine, I think, just kind of fits over both of these main ones. So a little more extra thin cement, and we should be pretty good to let this kind of dry. So we're going to follow the same pattern for each of the other piping. So actually, I'll probably do it off camera and come back when those are dry and ready for the next step, because I don't think you want to see me glue each and every one of these and hold it. It's not much fun watching glue dry. So we'll go ahead and be right back, do the rest off camera, and we'll see you in a few. Okay, we are back, everybody. I have finished off those piping areas on the side of each of the burner cans, and now we're going to work on the center bracing. There are two braces that attach both of the lower engines together, kind of making them one unit. So I want to go ahead and cut these off the sprue, and they're really small. They're not really very easy to remove off the sprue, so we're going to be really careful with this. Let's just get rid of this piece here. We don't need that. And I'm going to probably cut both off at the same time. And there we go. Perfect. Now we'll have to take a hobby knife maybe, or maybe we might use the flush cuts. How am I going to cut these off? This is not too easy to do. Because we can make a cut there. Oh, kind of small here. Cut right there. And right there, I guess. Man, these are going to be difficult to get out of the sprue here. Maybe a hobby knife, maybe? Now, I'll come down on the other section. This is the problem we have here. These are so small, they're very difficult to get off of the main sprue. I think I've got it more or less good. I'll have to use the flush cuts and get some of the ejector pin marks off of this. That should be pretty good. Clean it up a bit. In fact, they're kind of delicate too, so I can't use a hobby knife like I want to and slice that off. So, I guess I could try to. No, I might break it. I'll tell you what, I have a different blade. I'm going to go grab the different blade here, my other hobby knife. Be right back. Okay, so I've got my flat chisel blade. We're just going to push straight down and kind of cut some of these flashing off. And that should be good to go. There we go. Perfect. And let's grab the other one as well. Same idea. Just find a nice spot. Need to get a new blade. This blade's a little old. It's missing actually a corner. So get rid of that. We don't need the sprue. We'll just use this. One more cut should do it. There we are. Cool. Alright, so we have our two braces here that we're going to be putting through both of the main engines. Just clean it up a little bit. Overall, the Mobius kit is a pretty decent building kit. There's not a lot of flash, and there's not a lot of misaligned parts. I was a little concerned since I haven't built Mobius before, but I'm actually digging the part layout. So, highly recommend Mobius kits from this one on. It looks pretty good. So the burner cans are going to hook together like this, and we're going to have to put the braces on the inside, and we'll probably mount both braces to one engine, and then we'll go ahead and sandwich both engines together. So let's test fit that. That looks pretty good. Again, use a little extra thin cement, and we'll just go ahead and place these. 3 locating pins, nothing too bad. And now we'll just place those in there like that. Nice. This would probably be a little better if this was a photo etched part, but like I said before, I don't want to spend money on a photo etch set because it's about the same amount of money as I spent on the kit. I picked up the kit off of picked this kit up off of Amazon, and I got a pretty good deal. I think it was like 25 bucks. Plus I'm a Prime member, so I had free shipping, and it worked out pretty well. So I think the detail kit is about the same as the model. It's about $25, $30. And since I'm not lighting it, a lot of parts that are in that detail kit I wouldn't even use. So I'm just going to stick with the plastic parts. And these should be good enough for right now. Just get the second brace lined up and glued in. Shouldn't be too bad. There we are. I want to make sure that they're fairly lined up. Now this will fit through the locating tab in the back, and those should fit in the small locating holes in the front. And pretty close. Yeah, let's go ahead and throw some cement on here. Extra thin to me a cement. There we are. Perfect. On the other side, of course. A little bit up front here with locating pins. Make sure that that is going to have good contact. There we are. And we'll just place this together. Now, I'm not sure that the front is completely lined up. In fact, it's not. I'm going to have to take an X-Acto knife and probably kind of move them around a little bit. Make sure that they are locked in place. So let's go ahead and grab that and kind of shift some of these around a little bit. There's actually a couple that are a little short too, so that's going to be hopefully not noticeable, but I'll do my best to get those lined up as best as I can. And now looking decent. All right. Move the bottom one a little bit too, just a tad. There we go. Nice. All right, so we got the end piping and we got the center area. So next we want to go ahead and mount up the top section. That's the next step. So let's go ahead and grab a little bit of this plastic welder, make sure that these two engines are perfectly bonded together. Plastic welder seems to react well to Mobius plastic, so that's good. And enough pressure should keep these guys together. Before we actually go ahead and put on the top burner, we're going to need to go ahead and add a few little extra parts on these main engines. So we'll get that after this. Let's just make sure this is really secured. This thing would look really cool if I had lit it though. It would look pretty neat having the engines glowing blue. I think they're blue. At least I know they're blue in the Viper Mk II, so I think they're blue in the Viper Mk VII as well. Looking good. Alright, let's get on to those other little parts and see what we can do with those. Alright, so each of these engines, the outer portion of these engines, have a little bit of a, I don't know if this is supposed to be some sort of an intake or some form of computer thing. I don't know, but it sits kind of on this little raised mound on the side of the engine. Problem is that the locating pins on this smaller part don't fit into the locating holes on the engine. So I'm going to probably have to go ahead and slice off one of the locating pins so that I can get it pretty much aligned where it needs to go. And the instructions are not too clear either. I think Mobius has done a very good job of making some awesome instructions, but there's little areas that are a little difficult to kind of make out. So I might have to just kind of wing it on this one. So let's go ahead and we'll take our flush cuts and we're just going to snip off one of those little locating tabs there. And then let's see if that fits. Yeah, that fits way better. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and glue this one down on the outer side of this engine. A little bit of Tamiya. It should go together without too much fuss. Yeah, put that locating pin there. And nice. I'm just going to hold it there for a little bit. And generally speaking, these are pretty well detailed for being plastic parts, you know. I'm not sure what these things do, but let's go ahead and get the other side as well. Same idea. We're going to cut that locating pin off of that, and we're just going to glue it down. That's going to be that. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and hook on the top of the engine. We want to get this last burner can attached here. It's a smaller little thruster, and it looks like it fits pretty well in there. So I'm just going to go right to the plastic welder, and we're just going to dip some plastic welder into the locating tab, and probably should get a little bit kind of down inside that crevice right there. Let's press this together. Nice. Looks pretty good. Put a little bit more on the back side of this. Make sure this is all nicely fused. Alright. Looking good. Okay, cool. A little nice form of pressure there, and I think we are good to go, guys. I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Next time we'll come back, we're going to tackle that cockpit and see if we can't get some sort of cool looking stuff for that. But as you can see, the engine fits nicely up into the upper engine deck, and this will go nicely on top of the fuselage. So thank you guys so much for watching part 3 of this Viper Mk VII build. Join me next time for part 4, where I have every intention of working on that cockpit. So, until next time, guys, keep modeling. We'll see you soon.